Hey guys, Joe Nathan here. I got just one question for you. Are these cars on iRacing getting easier to drive, or am I just getting better at the game? With all these new tire models and all these new versions of the cars, I've been thinking to myself, I might be getting better. These cars actually do seem to be slightly easier than I remember them. Of course, one of my main examples would be the Porsche Cup car. This is a car that I wasn't able to drive in the past. I was just not good enough to put together multiple laps at a time because it was a genuinely difficult car, in my experience. Since the most recent update to the tire model, I feel like it's gotten way more drivable for somebody like myself. I consider myself an average driver, and I think I can put together consistent, consecutive, above average laps in the Porsche Cup car, and I didn't used to be able to do that. Another example on the oval side of things would be, say, the Gen 4 ARCA car versus the up-to-date modern Gen 6 ARCA car, where I feel like that car, the Gen 4 version, was relatively punishing and difficult for what would be a Class D car. The more modern version, I feel, is still somewhat challenging, but it's way more approachable and not as quick to punish poor throttle management or poor car control. Then you have the Gen 4 Cup car that they just released, which I find quite fun. However, myself and a few others included expected something more like the NR 2003 good old days. This Gen 4 car actually seems slightly easier, and it actually had a couple drivers questioning if there were some hidden assists built into the car. I wouldn't go that far, but to be honest, I understood where they were coming from because the car felt very, very stable. This could be because it's week 13 and they wanted to go for a easier setup that was more approachable. However, it's one of those things that it definitely caught some people by surprise. One of the things with the new tire model, though, especially on the GTPs, is that the cold tires are extremely punishing. So this is an example of cars maybe being harder to drive. I could barely get the Porsche off the parking lot. This thing was basically a weapon. And of course, once the tires warm up, you have an easier time controlling the car. But again, this is an example I can think of where it just got simply harder. And I've heard people mention that where participation for the GTP class has been reduced because of the difficulty of the car since the latest tire model. And especially adding rain. Rain adds a layer of difficulty and unpredictability to every race, of course. And that makes things more difficult, which in turn makes us better drivers. So are the cars getting easier to drive, or are we just getting better? With things just being released, it's too soon to tell. I love the GT3 class. It's my favorite class. It's partially because they race so well. It's also because it's one of the few things that I can drive consistently and quickly. Not a lot of things that I'm genuinely good at, but GT3s is definitely one of them. It's too soon to say if the new tire model is actually easier to drive. But with the Porsche GT3, I was able to put in a lap time that was significantly quicker than anything I've ever done once the tires got up to temperature. And it only took about a couple laps in order to get to that pace. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that went purple, beating personal best after personal best with the new tire model. It seems like the car's gotten generally faster, and overall, that Porsche felt like it was on rails around Spa. Again, it's not a bad thing. I'm sure things just get more detailed and more natural to drive and therefore easier, or in this case, more comfortable. Overall, though, it's got me wondering, am I getting better? I sure hope I am. That's my ultimate goal every single time I sign up for a race or a practice. I want to get better. If I don't get better, then it's kind of a waste of time. But am I getting this much better? I want to hear what you guys think. Of course, this is an open-ended discussion where I don't feel too strongly either way, but I want to hear what you guys think. Anyways, once again, my name is Joe Nathan. I appreciate you checking out the video, checking out the content. Again, I just want to hear what you guys think, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.